Hey y'all, Nikki here, and you are listening to the How to Be Magical podcast. It is April, and we are spring, in spring, having a lovely time. This week's episode is going to be very near and dear to me. Is a longtime friend, good up family member, a very trusted member of the Orisha community, someone who I love very much, who I've known for a long time, and I've been wanting to get her on the show. And we are going to talk about some fantastic things today. We're going to get all of her business, not too much, whatever she'll allow. All right. This week's episode, we calling it Romance, Wrestling, and Rituals. Conversation with Iya Osundara. And welcome, Iya. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. I feel like we've been trying to do this episode for maybe like it's been like 3 years of trying to put this
Yeah.
episode together, right? But for the phone that shoe, right? Of trying to find the right time, but I feel like paths have crossed and stars have aligned, and all of the good things are happening. And I'm really excited to talk with you. You got so much going on. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Who are you? Where are you from?
Okay. So my name is Iya, Ajewole Osundara now, since I just finished my IFA initiation. I am from New York, from the great state of New York. Specifically, I'm not from the city. I'm from a small county. Haters will say it's upstate. It's not upstate. All right. I get very
Rockland. You
defensive
from
about.
Rockland County?
Yeah, I'm from Rockland.
That's not upstate. That's not.
It's not
Let's put a little
upstate.
respect on Rockland County.
Please,
Okay.
okay. I always say if you get Hot 97, you're not upstate.
You're not upstate. I will give
All
you that.
right. And I'm gonna age myself and say Funk Flex DJ'd at my prom's after party in the city. So not too much on me. Not too much. I aged myself, but the real ones will know.
No, because wait. Where was y'all after party?
Some club in the city. I don't even remember, girl.
No,
But
because I feel like Funk Flex DJ at our prom's after party too. It was like some
yeah,
club, and I wore like some Chinese slippers. It was a mess. Anyway.
a mess. But anyway, I'm from New York. I live in Baltimore now. I've been here for like 12 years, but once, you can take the girl out of New York, but you can't take the New York out of the girl.
And you're from New York, but like, where's your family from? Because now we gotta go in.
Uh, I'm a Jamaican. My parents, both parents. People like to be like both parents. Yes, both
Why is
parents.
that like? Is that
I don't know.
surprising? That's
I don't
come
know.
on.
I just yes, both my parents are from Jamaica, so I'm Jamaican by
Which
heritage.
parish are y'all from?
Both of them are from Kingston, actually. Even though,
Okay.
like, when I grew up, like growing up and going down there for the summers, I spent a lot of time between like Ocho Rios and Kingston. So I have family in Ochi and then family in Kingston. So I like would bounce
All
between the
right, so you
two
got a little
places.
country, a little city, a nice mix, which I feel is appropriate
Yeah.
for you. Now, when we first met, we gonna age
Oh my
ourselves with this.
God.
When we
Wow,
first
wow,
met,
wow,
was
wow,
it was it the Abracadabra forums? It was yes, the Hood Witch. Remember she had them Abracadabra
Yeah.
forums?
Wow, wow, wow,
Remember
wow.
those? Remember? You remember.
Yes. The message boards back
The
in the
message
day.
boards. But we had met before then, but I feel like that was like around the same, like it was around that time.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember we were like both in the beginning of our respective journeys, right? It was like
Mm-hmm.
everybody was very, building their table. I remember I had invited you to our place in Brooklyn. You see my
Mm-hmm.
Bovida. We got nice and drunk that night. It was a good time. Good times was had,
Yeah.
right? Um, how would you say you got started on your spiritual journey?
Um, so so this was like the early 2010s, I want to say. I stopped going to church, and I always like to preface, like, I don't have church trauma. Like, a lot of people have church trauma, and that's why they love church. I didn't have church trauma. I grew up in the Episcopalian church, okay? Like, it was a black church, but it was very Catholic light. I grew up Episcopalian. I loved the church. I loved my church. I was very involved in my church. But after college, just some experiences that I had with people who were very churchy turned me off. And I was just like, you are giving Christ love, but actually you have a very nasty attitude. And this is very hypocritical to how you are portraying yourself to everybody. So I was getting a little just unhappy with church, but I knew that there was like, I still needed to have a personal connection with God, whatever that looked like. So I just, and it's so funny because it's like, I don't even remember how I found these things, like how I found these websites. Like, I couldn't tell you how I found them. I just started reading like a lot of, it wasn't Christian centered. It was just like, spirit, universe, some Eckhart Tolle. Is that his name? What's his
I think
name?
so. Eckhart Tolle. I know.
So
I read a couple
yeah,
of his books. That was the him a long time ago.
yeah. So like starting to get into like some of that kind of universe type of things. So I would say like it started there, and then at the time I had a friend who was also kind of exploring spirituality, and she really put me on to like doing candle work, doing like getting into crystals and stuff like that. So I kind of started there, and then I moved to Baltimore in 2013. And then me and that friend started again getting deeper into it. So there was Baltimore is a very witchy place. The girls sleep. It
Really?
is very witchy here. It is very witchy. This is a very witchy city. Um, there was a white new age crystal woo woo store in an area here called Hamden, and the woman there, she actually used to host misas. Like she had a Lakumi priest that would come in and he would host misas. So I attended misas before I even like really got into the practice. Like I was sitting in misas, like his, as in his spirit was coming down and speaking Spanish. Okay, like okay.
I love a good misa. Listen, that's my bread and butter.
So
I'm not gonna hold you.
yeah, so that's
I
how
love a
like
good misa.
I kind of just kind of got into that. I didn't really know anything about the Orisha. I hadn't like done any research. I kind of again fell into it. I got a reading with him. I think at one of the misas, the spirit that came down was telling me it was something about Oya, and so I thought I was a child of Oya initially, actually. He was saying something about, oh yeah, and then I got a reading and he said, yeah, you need to practice. And I was like, okay. And then he told me how much it was to join his house. And I said, well, don't got that many brothers. So thank you. I will take this into consideration. God bless you. And I went about my business. Then my now godmother, she used to have a botanica that was like up the street from my apartment at the time. And we found out about the Black Witch Conference, which was here. This was like 2015 now.
Yes.
Was here. We went, and that was specifically for Black women who were just witchy. Whatever way you were witchy, you didn't have to be an ATR practitioner. What if you considered yourself a witchy girl? This was for you, and it was really the first time interacting with like other Black women who were into spirituality, but most importantly, seeing like older Black women who were into it and who were not Christian, because that's not something I'd ever seen before. And my godmother was the keynote speaker, and I was like, oh, I gotta like that lady. I gotta talk to that lady. So I went to visit her at her botanica. She also used to have misas at her botanica, which is very interesting to see, like an Isheshe, which again, I didn't know the difference, but now it's like a Lukumi misa, an Isheshe misa, the similarities and differences. And then actually I had a reading with Tatiana Tarot when she was still reading cards, getting back in the day. And she was like, yeah, you need to find a spiritual house. And I was like, well, I'm not going back to church, so I don't know what that means. I'm not going back to church, so we got to
Like,
figure that
well,
out. Well,
work it out,
and
spirits.
I got a reading with my godmother, and I tell people don't ever do this. Like, don't ever do what I did because this is very reckless. But I was like, so can I join your house? Like, how do I join your house? And she divined right there, and she was like, yeah, you could join, and told me how to join, and the rest is history, as they say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. It's funny that you say that. First of all, shout out to the witchy conferences for
Yes.
truly bringing people together, like
Yes.
for real, because my godfather and I met in a witch group on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
He was not. I didn't intend for him to be my godfather. We were friends, And then the first time that we met was at a witchy conference. Like he came to see me. I was vending, and he brought like the woman as my godmother and like my godson. And he brought like all these people with him, and I was just like, oh, I'm meeting my friend. And then my
Right.
mom was the one who was like, you should ask him to be your godfather, because my mother was like,
Oh,
she already,
wow.
yeah, and my mother's not in anything, right? She's not in anything
Right.
like, but she had seen me go through what I was going through, and she was like, I think if your spirit takes to him, you should ask him. And I had no intention of asking this man. Like I was not. And when I did, he was like, he went and asked his elders, and they were like, kind of like, find out what she wants. And now in hindsight, I get it, because it's like people come with all kinds of crazy stuff off the
Yeah.
street and just asking for stuff. But I do believe that if your spirits are truly meant to be together in that
Yeah.
sense, that there's no right or wrong way for it to happen. Like either it'll work out with the people it's supposed to work out with.
I only say that only because like I'm a very impulsive person. My impulsivity works for me. I think for some newer people, like how stuff is now is not how stuff was like 10 years ago. So that's
True.
why I like caution and maybe don't do that, right? Maybe try to vet people out a little bit more. There have always been scammers. There's always been like people who are things that they really aren't. I think it's just more rampant now with the rise of like TikTok and like social media. So because I find like the elders who really are about that life, they really don't be online like
They're
that.
not online at all, actually.
If they are, they're posting memes every once in a while. They're posting like stuff that they're having, but they're not really like kikiing with the girls on the TikTok. That is just my own astute observation. I also say this, and this is no shade to nobody. The girls don't really have really good discernment. You know what I mean? The discernment, not every time is there. And so I feel like people need to like really research. I know that for me, this is what I was supposed to do, right? And I feel like my Ori specifically, not even my ancestors, because my ancestors were like, girl, we don't know what you're doing. We don't know what you're doing. It makes you happy and you're safe, but like we don't really know what this is. We don't get it. I think my Ori was just like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I know we'll talk about this probably later, but I also think that like not everybody needs to be doing this practice. Not everybody needs to be in the Orisha tradition. And I think people think they do, and it's like, you actually don't. But that's,
No, I
that's
mean,
just me.
I think I definitely agree. I think that people don't fully understand all of the different levels that could go into Orisha practice. Like some people, the most they'll need is like, or even will be allowed, is to like come to functions, come to a drumming,
Right.
come to like the public facing things. I don't think everybody needs to be initiated. I don't think everybody needs to be a working priest. Like I think
No,
that
heavy
that's
on
like
you don't need to
that's
be
a
a working
lot, that
priest.
I
Yeah.
don't think people fully understand how much work goes into it, how much dedication goes into it. Not even just money, because I feel like people see the money and they'll be like, oh, this is so expensive. It's like that's one part of it, but like
And even like I didn't understand, but once I was in the practice, it felt like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So like, no, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I knew about like when Maya told me I was a child of Oshun. I said, who is that? No shade. I said, I don't know that lady. I had to go do research. I knew, oh yeah, because that's like the Orisha that had been coming up. But I was like, who's Oshun? Who is Oshun? Who is Obatala? Who are these people? I mean, love this for me. I don't know what this means. I'm just being honest. I'm also the type of person like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna go hard. So I'm gonna put my best foot forward in everything that I do. So not saying like, do you have to have all the knowledge? No. Also, was all of this knowledge? When did I join my Eli? Like probably, oh my gosh, it's probably like almost been 10 years. 2016, 2017, I think is when I joined. The amount of information that is available now to people was not readily, like online,
oh,
was not
absolutely.
readily available. Like the books that you could read, like I had none of that back at like then. And so I think now, because that stuff is more available, like take your time and really think about, and also build a relationship, get a couple divinations done, right? Like she could probably get like a couple of divinations done and feel out how you um are with that priest, if there's like a, a good rapport and vibe there. Um, but yeah, I just that's why I'm like, don't necessarily do that. That probably was not the smartest decision, but at that time, I was making very impulsive choices. That just happened to work for me. That so your use may vary.
No, but it's like, I mean, I've gotten a few readings from in the course of finding my elders now, and some people are just for good reading. That does not
Mm-hmm.
mean that you need to be their godchild. That doesn't mean you need to join their house. They're just a good babalao. They're a good
Right.
priest. And there's nothing against that.
Right.
And there's some people who, you can, after I think getting a few readings is important too, because then certain things, if it's on point, you're gonna hear some of the same stuff. Some of the
Right.
similar stuff is gonna keep coming up to a point,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll kind of be able to connect your own dots. But I think that I don't know, just getting one reading from somebody and then like going all in is very risky. Um,
Yeah.
Especially like if you don't know this person at all, right? Like you saying, like
Right.
build a relationship with them, see their energy. Like you have to vet people. Vetting is like is more than just like, oh, do I like this person? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, can I trust this person? Is this person trustworthy in the community? What do other people say about this person?
Right.
Do other people know this person, right? Because
Right.
there's been plenty of times I've asked people like, oh, who is this? And they'll be like, I have no idea who that is. I have never seen that person. I don't know who is that. And you're like, oh damn, I thought they was credible.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the community is there for. Like there's no solitary practitioners in this, right? There's like no
Mm-mm.
one person who's like, I'm self-initiated and
Right.
I'm the whole house. Like, okay,
Right.
okay,
Right.
okay, okay. And I feel like that's something that again, it's not like you said, 10 years ago, there was not a lot of information readily available. Now, everybody and their mother has a book and a blog and a
Yes.
podcast and a this and a TikTok. But I feel like even that could be a little confusing because there's
Yes.
so much information and there's so much conflation between the different traditions. Like there are people who don't know the difference between Lukumi and Isheshe.
Mm-hmm.
So like as somebody who's experienced, I first of all, I didn't know that Isheshe had their version of Misas.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say would be is any differences that you have noticed? Like,
So, I mean, so I've been to two type of Lukumi misas. One, the ones that I did before I even joined the practice, and then ones where I've like actually worked a table. I've worked a table at a Lukumi misa before, and then the Shei ones. Um, the Lukumi ones. So the first one I went to, all the prayers were in Spanish. And then the other one, the prayers were not in Spanish, but they were different kinds of prayers. At some, there's like spiritual baths that are readily available for everybody to kind of take and wash themselves off. At the one that original, I would say the original, the first misa that I ever attended, it wasn't necessarily a spiritual bath. It was kind of like water, maybe and Florida water with bluing in it. And we
okay,
took that and we, cleansed ourselves off. Um, Isheshe, there wasn't that. Like, at least, and these are the ones just like that my godmother did. There wasn't, I don't think there was like, if I'm misremembering, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure we did not have like a type of spiritual bath or kind of cleansing that we kind of did when we came into it. And I mean, they're prayers, but essentially it's just they're prayers to open and to kind of like call in this, benevolent spirit. And then whoever's working that table, like, and essentially all of them, whoever's working the table, it's just as the messages start coming, you start rolling. Unless it's like, for someone specific, like if it's because you have a general misa and then there's a misa where it's like for somebody specifically. So it kind of depends, even though even if it's for someone specifically, other people will still get their own messages because that has happened to me. And I said, whoa, now why am I in it? Why am I
what's
in
this got to do with me? We're
it?
here doing an investigation for this person.
So, yeah, I'm working. What do we
They're like, well, actually, since you're here,
actually while you're here? Thank God.
while you're here,
So yeah, it's like more or less the same, but it's like the same, but it's almost like I always say we're all part of the same family. Families are just gonna do stuff differently, right?
Right.
Like if you're the Joneses are gonna cook macaroni cheese differently than the Williams. Will it still taste good? Yeah, they're just gonna do it differently. Um, so that's like those are the kind of differences. Like they were the same, but they were not. I mean, generally, there's a white candle, there's water, and there's prayer, and there's mediums.
Okay.
I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to. And then, kind of everybody has their different protocols as to how to manage somebody if they happen to get mounted. Like, what is the procedure for that? So I think just differs by Elay.
Okay. Um, Now when it comes to so, all right, when it comes to being an Iyanifa,
Mm-hmm.
right? What would you say? Like, what does that mean to you, right? As like a practitioner, and how would you say that the role has shaped how you interact with like your community, with your religions?
So for me, I don't know, dude, and more work. Me being an
No, be
being an Eva,
honest.
it means more work, really and truly. More learning. There's a lot more learning that I have to do. There's a level. I mean, I'm gonna just speak for myself. I feel like the Orisha have very high standards for me. Oshun has very high standards for me, right? It's like now that bar has been raised. Um, do I like that all the time? No, I don't. Sometimes I wish I could fuck around, like some of the people outside. I'd be like, these people look like they're having fun. And they're like, yeah, that's not for you. It's not for you. You had your big fun with the wretched. You can sit your ass down and go do some work. Okay? So ultimately, more responsibility, more learning. I am so fresh off the mat that I can't even tell you what being an Iyanifa fully means yet, because I'm still processing all of that and like what that means. Um, I'm not sure. I don't want to say it's not going to change the way that I interact with my community because, this is not my first rodeo. I have a couple of initiations, and I don't think that it has changed my interactions with the community. If anything, it would probably change in the types of services that I offer or the
Okay.
types of baths that I offer. There might just be some different kind of baths. I don't know. I don't know. These people always have me on a side quest. So I'm not sure yet. Sorry, that's not like
That's
a full
You don't have to
answer.
apologize. It was a question. I don't have
Yeah.
any. There's no set way to answer these questions because I'm asking out of genuine curiosity. Like
Yeah. I mean, if I'm, looking at what Ifa fully means, it's like really putting you in alignment with your destiny, right? And putting me more on track so that I can do the things that I have been sent here to do. And as much as I be trying to fight it, I am a working priest. I've been a working priest for a few years at this point, and it's probably to help me be a better working priest and to show up better for my clients in the greater community. At least that's what I'm hoping. Now, ask me this question in a year, the answer might be different.
I'm gonna hold you
Six.
to that. I'll actually we'll definitely come back in a year and do a retrospective to see. Because I mean, honestly, like it's been like I said, as your friend for all of these years, it's been so incredible to see all of the ways that you have blossomed
Oh,
in
thank
your
you.
path. You know what I mean? Like no, for real. Like because it's like I said, I remember when it was like we just working a candle, we just working our ancestors, right? Like that was just like a we just get in here a little crystal, a little candle work, a little
Mm-hmm.
shadow work. I remember you were big on the shadow work. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's where I started to really see you as a priest emerge, like
Mm-hmm.
truly from that shadow work. So it's not surprising that you initiated to Olokun because I'm like to me Olokun is like that's the shadow, like
Yeah,
that is like the
she's
that
gonna
is
take you
like the
there.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like we always joke about, like, I always joke about it, at least, like, if I ever fall off a boat, just I hope they take my spirit before I'm too because I don't want to. Don't rescue me. I can't. I don't ever want to fall off
Right.
in no deep water, no open water. I don't play those games. Like, Mefeta everybody. I cannot. For real. Like, I'm the depths of the ocean and the sea and all of that. Like, I have such a high respect for it. So I'm always, and I have my Olokun in the room, and every time I'm like, I'm gonna leave you in the corner. I'm not gonna disturb this pot. We're
And
gonna
you know
just.
what's so funny? That's like everyone's reaction with her, and I've never, like, I don't want to say I've never felt that. There was one time, like, this was kind of before I got initiated. We went to the ocean to do some work, and I just stood there and I just, like, started crying. Like, I just felt, like, so overwhelmed. Like, bruh, I just started crying. That was, like, the first and, like, the one and only time that I was like, whoa, like, the magnitude. And she's, comes to me in dreams, and even in the dream space, it's never like, I don't want to say super intense, but that, like, thing that when I tell you, everyone that talks about Lakum, that is their reaction. I'm like, she cool, like, we cool, like, she cool. I don't know. And I don't know if it's because I'm a water baby. I already got Oshun, and Oshun is very enough in her own way. So that maybe I'm accustomed to it, but I'm just like, really? I mean, she big mama, but she cool.
I'm definitely like, I'm like, when I say afraid, like, I went
Really?
snorkeling a couple of years ago, and like, I almost had a panic attack. Like, I couldn't take it. Like, I was like, everything down here is so beautiful. I don't belong down here. What am I doing down here? Get me back on the beach. Like, I can't. Like, I was like
Oh,
freaking out.
wow.
I was freaking out. I was
Oh,
freaking out.
no.
And it's like, again, I feel like there's like this overwhelming feeling of like big respect, like
Mm-hmm.
massive respect, but also just like this, there is something to it about, like, the same way I feel about, like, kind of like outer space, like, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's out there. We don't know what's
Right.
down there.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool with not knowing, I'm
Meanwhile,
cool.
I'm
I'm
like,
so,
show me. I'm like, yo, what's tea? What is all down there? I'm trying to find out.
you got any Scorpio placements?
Yeah, girl, I'm a Scorpio stellium, eighth house.
No wonder. All
Venus.
right, never mind.
Venus and
Never
Scorpio.
mind. No,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
this is
no.
all very Scorpio. Like, what are you talking about? I am like afraid for my life, and she's like, ooh,
No, I want to
mm,
know. I'm
I
like,
want to
no,
know. I'm like, girl,
tell
I'm frightened.
me. No, I'm like, tell me, please, give me the tea. I want to know. Tell me more.
I did dream one time, right after, like, right around the time when I was receiving my Olokun, I did have a dream with her, and it was like all of these like massive like it was like a weird top down view. Like, I don't know. I was
Mm-hmm.
sometimes have these dreams and I'm looking down and I just seen like massive mammals, like sea mammals, whales, and huge fish. Like, the fish with the eye that's like this big,
Yeah.
and like just huge things. And I was like, and I feel that it was so funny because that same feeling that I felt in the dream is the feeling that I feel when I look in my pot. So it was like, it's a very
Uh,
similar, like, I'm just going to change the water and I'm going to put this back in the corner
do
and
you know
I'm
what's so
not going to.
funny? I'm reminded of this dream because, like, I feel she's like, yeah, you could share that. So this dream I had, this was years ago. I don't know if I had just gotten her before I got her, and she took me to the bottom of the ocean, and she was like showing me stuff down there, and she was like, yeah, tell people to stop fucking around with me, like, they don't want to know what's down here, and there's more down here than they think there is, so, like, not too much. And I was like, who trying you like that? Also, like,
Oh, was,
what?
was that around the same time as that Ocean Gate scandal?
No, this was even before that.
Before the Ocean Gate. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this is like way before that. And it was just like, I mean, I will let people know, but also, like, I don't, what's all this then? Why me? I'm always like, why y'all be talking to me? I just be vibing. I just be vibing. And she was like, no, just let them know. Like, it's some shit down here, and not too much. Stop playing around. And I was like, oh, okay.
Exactly. Like,
I was like, okay.
mm, um, all right. So we just briefly touched on dreams, right? And
Mm-hmm.
again, what is like some of the biggest like misconceptions that you have seen that people that you feel that people have about Orisha, about the traditions?
Mm, um, so part of it, I think I will say there we have our blah. We have our idea of like what are blessings, especially when you get a reading, you're like, the blessings is coming in, babes. You lit. Everything's about to be lit for you. Then there's like, but you got to do the EBO. And whether that's like not eating certain foods for X amount of time, or like you get a permanent taboo, right? Um, I don't, I don't personally think people really take that very seriously.
Mm.
Initially, I don't think people take it that seriously. I think a lot of people are still in an exploratory stage of like trying to find what spirituality looks like for them, right? And so I think automatically people think they leave the church, they should go to an ATR. And like, yes, as Black people, like it is your birthright to practice an ATR, but it doesn't have to necessarily be as an Orisha worshiper, right? Especially like if you're a Black American, you can try to figure out your roots through hoodoo and try to figure out how that works for you. Or also, it's okay to leave the church, but maybe you still need to be a practicing Christian and just work on your spirituality, as in like, as my godmother would say, working your mojo, like working your own personal magic. There are Christian witches, like there are Christian Black witches. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think the discontent, and rightfully so, right, with Christianity is like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to jump into Orisha worship. And oftentimes I say it is so much easier to be a Christian. It is so much easier to just go to church. There is a level of sacrifice that the Orisha require that is, and this is again, not to shade anybody, some people are just not built for it. Like the things that I have had to sacrifice in terms of just like food, people I hang around, things that I used to do that I can't do would make like people would break. I've had to go like there were times one time I got a reading and like the taboos for the like maybe month or so was nothing eating nothing with blood. Eating no leftover or reheated food. Okay. No beans. I think this was like all at once. So what am I
What you eating? What did you eat?
I don't know, probably like tofu and like vegetables. I don't I try to not recall those times in my life. But stuff like that. It's like, people like, no chicken. And to that I say, if you knew there was $1 million on the other side of it, you would do it. If you knew that this was going to save your life or prevent you from being sick, you would do it, right?
Right.
But it's like there's always a level of sacrifice, and there are times where I'm like, I feel like I've given y'all everything and y'all still are asking more of me. It's not easy. Like, I don't think people, and I know conceptually people are like, oh no, I know it's not easy. It's like, no, 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 no. It's really not easy. This is a very often isolating practice, even if you have an Elay and a community, because you still have to have a life outside of that. Like, being a practitioner is not my whole personality because it's weird. That's strange. Okay? I have a whole life out of that. There are people in my life who, like, love me, but do they completely understand what the hell I be doing? No. So I can't really talk to them about it. Thankfully, I have like friends within the practice, but I think and also coming into the religion, if you do decide that you're coming in with the same kind of Christian fear, right? Like, oh, if I fuck up, they're about to like, that's it. Shango about to come down. And I mean, no, you just got here. They extend a lot of grace and a lot of like patience that I feel the way, especially if you come from a church that's like fire and brimstone, that is not there, right? Now, if you know better, yes, please do better, because then they are going to come down and, come with the smoke, as it were. But yeah, I think sometimes it's like you still have to decolonize and like deconstruct the Christianity. You cannot come over here with Christian beliefs because it's not the same. You know, it's not that like you mess up and now you're going to hell and now you have to make penance. No, it's not like that. But there is like, especially again, as the further along you get, and when you know, you just know certain things, you know your taboos, and you're just like violating them just because it's you've done it before, nothing has happened. I tell people this all the time. The Orisha play a very long game. They play a long game. It's not always an instant gratification. Just sometimes they'll be like years down the line. You'd be like, "What's that?" And they were like, "Yeah, because you was just out here. You wasn't supposed to be wearing black on your head. You've been wearing black on your head every day, every other day. Guess what? Now you're wearing white for the rest of your life." And there's a taboo for everything. Trust
No,
me.
truly, there is.
There
There
is
really is. And some
a
stuff will seem
tab.
very arbitrary, but
Yeah.
I personally think that when people understand like how tailored everyone's path is, like it
Mm-hmm.
is your taboo. It is not like the concept of the Christian Ten Commandments is kind of
Right.
like, I feel like people get caught up in that and not realizing
Right.
when they hear taboos, it's like, no, I might not be able to eat beans. You could eat beans every day and be
Right.
fine. I can't eat beans, right? Like I
Right.
can't, you know, be on boats or like random. It'll be like a
Right.
random thing that you can't do. But I do think that it can be a little isolating sometimes. If you don't want to tell everybody all your business all the time about
Right.
why you can and can't do things or
I
whatever.
mean, for example, like and I'm sure I know they probably do this well, they do it everywhere, big cities, where restaurants will have these like special dining events, right? Like, oh, like a cute little pop up, and like for $200, you get like 5 courses and some wine or whatever. I, because I love to eat, I would love to go to those. I can't go to those, right? And it's not because I'm not allowed to. I just have so many food taboos that at this
Mm,
point it don't make sense for me to go, because why I'm gonna go spend $150 and I can't eat half the menu, right? So it's stuff like that where in hindsight it don't seem like a big deal, but it's just like, well, I want to go do this. It's like, I mean, technically, can I? Yeah, but then I'm just gonna be sitting there when they got something on a plate and people are like, why you can't eat that?
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So I just think it's also some stuff that like you just not gonna realize until you get in it. And sometimes you just have to try the religion out and be like, oh, this is not for me. Because I've seen that too. People like come into the practice and they're like, oh, actually, I'm gonna go back to Jesus. And maybe that's where you needed to be all along.
I know, and no one's path is linear.
This is the
Sometimes you'll go to a few different places before you realize
you
that
figure
this
it
is a
out.
lot. Like this is a lot. I will never um say that it isn't. I love the tradition. Don't get me wrong, love it down. But there's still a lot of things I'm just like, I mean, when you say it could be isolating, like I can't have people in the house like that. That's isolating sometimes. Sometimes I want to have a whole bunch of people over,
Right.
or I want to go to people's house and I can't. And it's like, well, I can meet you somewhere, but I can't necessarily come to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do invite you to my house and something happens to you or me,
Or like people will come over. I go to my shops. They're like, "Yeah, you gotta clean this with a bird, girl. That person was disgusting." And I said,
someone came to my house in my old apartment and a few of my plants died the next day. Like they were like dead as doornails. And I was like, well, I guess this person can't come over anymore. I'm really mad that these are
"Right,
my nice plants. What the frig? Like, I was really upset. But it's like stuff like that where it's like, okay, okay. So now I'm just like, well, okay. I'm in here
yeah,
with the dead people. It's great. It's fine. I don't need to have a lot of company. It's fine. Um, so you have your business,
mm-hmm.
Iyalode's Corner, the
Mm-hmm.
making baths, the bath lady, as you're affectionately called, right? Making baths. That has to be demanding, though, right? Like running a spiritual business, and like how you mentioned, this is not your whole personality. This is not your whole life. Like you have other
Mm-hmm.
things that you enjoy. So how do you manage to balance this this life with your personal life? Like, how do you,
Uh,
the things that you enjoy? Like, again, it's very in vogue right now for
mhm.
everyone to be everything that they are in public and do all of the things. But one thing I do admire about you is that you are very much into your hobbies and your interests and your romance novels, your
Yeah,
wrestling, your anime, your love of
yeah.
like a good
I
up
was on
time.
I was on Zoom with my members last week, and I was like, guys, guess what? I'm going to a romance festival and I'm so excited.
Oh,
I'm geeked out. Like listen, I be having a key, okay? And people love to say, you don't ever be outside. No, I do. I just don't post my whereabouts because it's none of your business. That's number one. Two, I just be at the places y'all are not. That's also okay. Okay, I do my things, but I'm so shout out to my parents. As toxic as this was and this can be, my parents have taught me a lot about compartmentalization. Okay, I'm very, very good at compartmentalizing things. I do it with friends, like my relationships. I am able to just I have these group of people for this, I have these group of people for this. Sometimes these groups can come together, sometimes they can't. Okay? Like I'm just very good at compartmentalizing. So for me it's like spiritual work, my spiritual responsibilities, especially because it intermixes with like my business and stuff like that. There's a time for me to do my work. And then there's a time, like, I didn't really read last month, which is very frustrating for me because I have a ton of books that I need to get through or want to get through. But I might have some time this month, but it's okay because, like, I had a lot of work to do, right? Like, I came back home and there was no break after initiation. It was like, all right, cool. That was so cute. You have to go back to work, right? So I just compartmentalize things. Also, again, no shade. I just think it's weird when when people make that thing their personality. Because do you have nothing else to talk about? I don't want to go out and talk about the Orisha all day. I talk to them every day. I don't want to talk about them all day. Like, unless there's something going on, but then I have my people for that. I don't want to kiki with you about, oh yeah, and I'll go talk to them. Come on, it's just too much. Also, I'm multifaceted. I'm a complete person, and like being a priestess, it's just like to me, it's just like it's no different than you saying you go to church. This is just what I do, right? Um, the issue is social media. The issue is people wanting to platform themselves and be seen as whatever. And it's like, no, I'm still Iya, whatever. Also, like, I'm nobody's elder. I still nobody to my elders. Okay, I got elders I answer to. I'm nobody's elder. I'm still very much a baby priest. I've been in like this year will be is this 2025? Was it 19? Like 5? No, 6 years. I think this is like my 6th year initiated
okay.
selection. I think so. Yes, but also like that's still not a lot of years in the game, comparatively speaking, when I have like my godmother who's been practicing for like 30 something years, right? People like my Oluo, he's been practicing for like 50 something, like people who have like time. I'm not there yet. So far be it from me to ever like posture myself as something more than what I am. Also, again, I don't want to talk about this all day. Let's talk about what I found on Reddit, okay? Like I'd be having a key in the subreddits. I'd rather talk about that to
I
be
love a
quite
good subreddit. I'm so
okay.
nosy. I am so
Yes.
nosy. Yo, Reddit is like my guilty pleasure. Like, when I'm laying in bed right before I fall asleep,
Yes.
I am on
On
Reddit deep
Reddit.
in other people's business. It is
Yes.
so fun.
Listen,
And clutching my pearls and
I'll
having
be
a
like,
whole like, oh my
oh,
god,
y'all be living like this?
no,
That's
it'd be
crazy.
all kinds of scandal on Reddit. I don't
Yeah,
know what it is about Reddit that people just want to tell all their business. But I just love
I
it.
I love
I'm
it.
never gonna tell on my business like that, but
No.
I
You
live
tell
to.
me your business and I'm gonna read it. But yeah, I think there's just like a level of compartmentalization, and also and this is going to sound mean, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of people have to like admit that they don't have a lot of friends and that they didn't have a lot of friends. And that because you have this platform now, this is your way of kind of like overcompensating for that, right?
Right.
Sometimes people like their only friends are, and I can't relate to that. I'm still friends with people that I've known since elementary school.
Same.
So, and this is not me trying to be rude. I'm just saying from observation, you can always tell like, oh, you don't have a lot of friends. You didn't have a lot of friends, and you've always kind of wanted attention. People, and this is very true of children of Oshun, because Oshun loves attention and she wants her kids to like always be seen. A lot of us, like specifically Omo Oshuns, we'd be like, not, no, thank you. Actually, I'm okay back here. And she's like, no, I need you, I need the people to see you. And I'm like, especially me, I'd be like, can't they just go on my like website and buy these damn baths? Why do you want me outside? Why? I'm so good. And she's like, no, like let them see you. No, it's okay.
No, it's cool. I'm good. Thank you.
I'm so good.
I'm good on that. Thank you. So wait, tell me a little bit about this romance festival that you're going to.
Oh, so it's the Black Romance Book Festival in Atlanta. It's at the end of May. It's the first one, it's the inaugural one. And basically, it's so funny. So I also write Terrascopes for the Baltimore Beat here. And I've been wanting to write some more, so like I've been working on some side stuff with them. But one of the things I was talking to one of the editors about was this festival, and I was like, "Yeah, you know Kennedy Ryan," and she was like, "I have no idea who that is," and I was like, "Excuse me, you don't know who the Kennedy Ryan is? Wow, that's crazy." So I just realized one, I also have like a book Instagram, but I'm very entrenched in this world, and it's like as black women do, we carve out our own stuff, our own spaces for each other. So essentially it's like the who's of black indie romance authors are going to be there. And so it's like book signings, there are panels.
That sounds so
Um,
cool.
I'm very excited. I've never actually like hung out in Atlanta before. I've only been through the airport, so I'm very excited to like have a little key in Atlanta, but mostly just to see some of my favorite authors in the flesh and be around other black women who are also black indie romance nerds like myself. So, yeah, it's I didn't realize it was a big deal, and then they sent out like the workshop panels and I was like, "Oh, y'all are dead ass." Oh, okay. Let me get myself. Me and my friend were like, "Oh, we gotta like really take this shit seriously. We were just gonna go for the vibes. No, we have to go with the plan of action." So yeah, very excited about that.
I love a good con.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good convention. I really do. Okay, so you mentioned Kennedy Ryan. Like, who are some of your favorite black romance
Um,
authors? Or not, doesn't even have to be black. Like, who are some of your favorite romance authors?
so Natasha Bishop, um, Drea Anderson, she writes a lot of paranormal romance,
Ooh.
and it is very hard to find good black paranormal romance. I like a werewolf. Okay, I love a werewolf. I love a vampire. That's just me. Sometimes the girls be writing about leopards and tigers. I don't need all that. I want a werewolf
Okay, okay.
and or a vampire specifically. Thank you. So Drea Anderson, ML Bash is really good, especially if you're a person who's into like why choose poly. She writes a lot of that, and she also looks like a kindergarten teacher, which is like the funniest thing. A lot of these people like look like Sunday school teachers. It's so funny. Who else do I read a lot of? There's a white author, well, a couple white authors. Sarah Kate, she's one of my faves. Um, I'm blanking on this one person's name, and it's funny because like I have the book on my phone. But there are a couple. I mean, also I always tell people like me. I like dark romance, which is it's very controversial, its own thing. But we can just blame the Venus Scorpio. I just like a lot of dark and twisted things. Okay, what's wrong with me? Mental illness in it. Okay,
Oh,
like
shush. Listen.
your girls just. I mean, I mean, it's
I
depression
don't
and
know. I
anxiety.
just I asked because it's just like I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. A daughter of Ochun isn't, like Ochun has the reputation
Oh yeah,
for
love.
being like about
Yeah.
love and all of these things, and you do talk about that a lot. Like not a lot, but enough in your work about like working with people and especially now, right? Like so
Hmm.
now there's a lot of talk of people decentering men, right? and
Hmm.
and then on the flip side of that there's like a whole trad wife movement that's happening, right? And people like romanticize, like, so it's like this very large spectrum
Right.
of things, and then here you are like, I just like a good smutty novel from time
I
to
look at
time,
this.
like.
I love a toxic man in a book, honey. Let me tell you, a man who's like who hurt you and he's going to kill somebody about you. Yeah, hell yeah. And he got money.
And he
Hell
got money.
yeah. Okay. He got some guns and some money. Hell yeah. Absolutely. Sign me up. The funny thing with love though is like, and I begrudgingly do love work. Whatever. Like, it's fine. I'm not so annoyed with it anymore. But one of the things that I tell, because most of my clients are women, and especially black women, I was like, you all have to admit that you like men. Like, part of your problem is that you are so angry that you are attracted to men. And I get it. I get it. Very annoying. Lots of piss in the dating pool. However, it can't be I want to be partnered, but also I hate men. You got to find the balance. Two, stop being ashamed that you want to be in a relationship. And this is for your listeners as well. Some of you all are very ashamed that you want to be married and have kids. You feel shame in that. Why? Because the girls online are shaming you. Not that they're what they're saying is not valid in some ways, but this is why people got to log off and go outside and touch grass. It's not all of it. There's like so much nuance. There's so much gray area in between there. You got to do what's right for you. And also, some of those girls are liars. Okay? Some of them are at home, booed up, telling you to say F men. A lot of times, they're married with their feet on said men, telling you that you need to decentralize men. I'm just saying.
I think it's a spectrum, truly. Like, um, I think there is a whole lot of room between being like an absolute pick me, right? What we want to
Yes.
call it, and someone who like a misandrist, which I'm like, okay, relax. I don't even think that misandry is real, like truly real, because I'm like, nobody's going out like hitting men over the head, like no one's doing
No.
that. Like, relax. Like, I hate men is not the same as some man getting drug off on the
Right.
street. Like, let's all calm down. But I think there's a big spectrum, and I do see. I'm on the Libra in me. I can see both
I mean,
sides. Like,
I see both
I
sides,
see
but
both sides. I totally get it.
I think people just have internalized it to a point that they don't even realize how much it is hindering them on their dating journey. There is validity in all of it. I'm not saying there's not validity, but in the same way with like some of the, just like I'll just use this as an example, soft life stuff. I don't really resonate with that. I also think that that's a bunch of bullshit because it's just like that's just not life. And people have unrealistic expectations for what a soft life looks like. By all intents and purposes, if I were to really tell people how like my day goes, they would be like, "Oh, you live a soft life." I mean, I guess, but also I work really hard, right? Like what are you willing to do what I have done to get to this point, right? And sometimes there's like sacrifices on the back end that you do not see that people are doing to present in a certain way. Also, as I always say, some of the girls are sex workers, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of the girls are sex workers, and so you're trying to chase a lifestyle of sex work that is not for you.
And they're not actually coming out and saying that it's sex work. And there's
No,
nothing like, again, this is
there's and
nobody shaming
we
sex
love
work.
sex workers,
No one's shaming sex
but
workers. However, I do think that the lines are being blurred online too.
mhm,
Like, I think that girls are conflating. Like, if you're dating men for money, honey, understand you might not like that man. Now, do you want to be in love with that man and have a
right.
life with and have a family with this man? that might not be the same man that is going to be
Right.
tricking on, you know, like might not be the same man, and you know, you need
Right.
to know the difference before you go out there expecting like like what you're saying. Like I do think that is a big issue, and I mean honestly, I don't know. I guess every generation has their versions of like misinformation in romance, right? Like ours, I would consider ours to be like they was pushing ride or die on us, right?
Right.
Like right, that was like the thing to be pushed on us. Like you need to hold your man down and
Right.
ride or die. And then you get to a certain age, you're like, okay, well, why is dying an option? Like, why do I
Right.
like, wait a minute now. I'm trying to have fun.
Right.
Why is death on the table? What does that got to do with love? That's crazy. I don't think I should have to do all of that, right? And then you get older and you kind of like, you know, make your own determinations about stuff. And like, you know, there's certain movies and shows and things that I watch now, like old stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I was really pushing this messaging kind of hard, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is a horror movie, actually. There's nothing romantic about this shit at all.
I think nuance has just been lost in a lot of ways across everything. Just like there's this, like you said, there's a spectrum. There's a wide spectrum, um, and I just enjoy the spectacle of getting lost in a romance book. It's fun because at the end of the day, regardless of what these people go through, are they going to be happy by the end of it? Yes, they're gonna be happy.
Well,
It's a
were
a
you,
guaranteed happy ending.
I probably already know the answer to this, but were you a urban novel girly in like
Still am, still am.
were you
Period.
oh gosh, oh my goodness. Do you remember reading Fly Girl by Omar Tyree?
The copy is still at my parents' house. I own that. I owned that. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it was
Would
like
I read
Fly
what
Girl and then like Milk in My Coffee.
Milk in My
And,
Coffee? Unfortunately, Coldest Winter Ever, which
oh, again, Coldest Winter Ever as an adult is
actually I feel like
traumatizing.
you should do like a whole episode unpacking Sister Soldier's obsession and her witchcraft on whoever Winter Santiago is. T.
No. She hated Winter.
She
She was
hates.
jealous of this. It was weird. It's a weird.
And
It
like
was
20 years
weird.
later, she has a new book coming out still. And it's like, leave that woman alone.
She's been through enough.
Please.
She's been through enough. I've been through enough. I've been
I
through enough.
and I know I don't know if you saw like Omar Tyree was on TikTok. He's very problematic apparently and was
Oh
saying the
yes,
whole
he was
yeah,
talking crazy, and it was like,
talking
oh my,
crazy. And
Tyree.
I have not reread Fly Girl as an adult, but I've done that on purpose because I don't want to ruin how adolescent me felt about
Oh,
it.
I
Do you
love
know what I
that book.
mean?
Yeah, I don't want to. I
I
wouldn't,
don't want to
especially hearing the
like,
stuff that he said. I'm like, I don't want to go
yeah,
back and read it now. Like, I want it to be like in a little box, like
yes.
memorialized as
Like,
like,
however, I read that in middle school, so I was like 13. However,
yes.
12,
I want it to
13
be
year
like
old
Tracy. I want
me,
it to have the
yeah,
hair and the jewelry and the.
and the boyfriend and the boys and I want that's so I'm not ever gonna reread that again. So if anyone is watching this, they're like, no, and I'm not. I'm not, okay?
Mm,
Willful ignorance, no.
no, no, no,
But
no.
yeah,
But I feel like that was like such a time. Like, do you
yeah.
remember True to the Game? Do you remember that
True.
one?
Yeah, of course. True to the game. There was one like riding dirty down 95 where she was
Oh
like
God.
smuggling drugs, I think from like New York to Baltimore, something
Everything was
crazy like
always about
that.
New York to Baltimore for some
Yes.
reason.
Yes.
There was a lot of New York and
New York
Baltimore.
to
There was a lot of Brooklyn to
Baltimore.
Baltimore. I don't know what
Yes.
was that. I guess that was real. Listen, I was not in the street like
Well,
that. I was a nerd.
my fiance said like DMX used to really be down here like pushing.
Oh,
Allegedly.
I mean he's
R.I.P.
dead, so
Ibaye.
you know,
Ibaye to him.
Ebae, Earl.
But
But
allegedly Earl used to be down here. He used to be down here doing the thing. But yeah, I mean at 38, yeah, I'm still reading urban romance. If you're trying to get back into urban romance, Jahquel J. Her Delgato series,
okay,
she's
okay.
amazing. There's some like really nonsensical ones that I will just read for a key. But like if you want to read good urban romance, in this day and age, one of the authors that I do recommend is Jahquel J. And also, am I partial to her because she's from New York and she writes about New York men? Yeah. Yeah. There was one brother she was describing, he had the Timbs on and he was getting ready to go do some shooter shit. And the wife was like, yeah, he got his Timbs on with the butters and the tongue. I said,
Oh
wow, my
God.
God.
I hate that I'm such a New York girl and like a man could still get me in like some
Yeah.
Timbs and a
And
Sherlin,
the
like a
shirt.
good Sherlin coat.
Come on.
Like
Come on.
I could still get got. I'm sorry. Like it can
I'm so
happen. Don't
sorry.
let him have no cut in the eyebrow. I'm please
Girl,
like
I was
I
giggling and
think I'm
picking up
so
my feet.
refined and so grown, and then I realize that I am not. Like
No. That the bird still lives in me. So read your call, Jack.
like I am not that grown. Actually, I'm still 17 somehow. Um, one of your other okay, so you have a couple of other interests, but
Hmm.
we here yapping, we having a time. Now I've never gotten into wrestling, right? I had
Okay.
an ex that was like totally into it. I was like, from what I understand, it seems like soap opera for men.
Hmm.
It's given telenovela.
It
Um,
is.
that right? Okay, so be honest. What is what? How did you start watching? Like, how did you get into it? Was it like something that you watched with your grand? Like, a lot of people be like, I used to watch with my grandma. I'm like, grandma,
So,
what
I
you
mean,
watching?
I remember watching in like middle school, high school. So like I can tell you old wrestlers, was I invested in it? Not too much. So like my fiance can tell you storylines. I'd be like, babe, I don't know. Sure. I guess. So how I got back into it, and it's really just this is like a recent development. This has just been over the past year. He came home one day and was like, "We're watching Raw," and I was like, "I don't want to watch Raw. Like, I don't understand why am I in it? Why do I have to watch Raw with you?" And so I was like, "Fine, whatever, put it on." And I'm doing whatever I'm doing on my iPad, but then you know how it is. You're like, "Wait, what's that? Wait, oh my God, wait, what's going?" And then it turned into even today, I got wrestling conspiracy TikToks on my FYP. All right. I'm locked into Raw every single Monday. It's okay. It's a key. It's really drag race for men. It's literally like RuPaul's drag race for men. If you see the outfits, if you see the
Oh, no, the outfits. That's what I'm
storylines,
saying. The outfits always get me, and like I said, I'm very shallow, so I'm like, I love a sequin. I love some glitter.
yeah, like it's ridiculous where it's like you know it's fake, but are you invested in the storylines? Yes. Yes. And also it's funny because like John Cena is still wrestling. I mean, he's retiring this year, but John Cena is still wrestling. The Rock still comes out. Like these are people who like I don't watch, so like my fiance is big into wrestling, so he watches like AEW, which I'm not doing all that. That's too much for me. I'm not in that deep. But there are some old wrestlers who are still wrestling. Like, do you remember the Hardy Boys? Have you heard of the
I do
Hardy
remember the
Boys?
Hardy Boys.
They're still wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Rey Mysterio still wrestling.
What?
Yeah,
Those are names I ain't heard since literally middle school.
Rey Mysterio's son Dominic Mysterio is also a wrestler. It's it's so interesting because I'm like, wait, that's so and so's son. That's so and so's cousin. Like the whole Roman Reigns, all of those people are all related. Those are, and they're all like The Rock's cousin.
That's
There's a
so
woman,
funny.
Nia Jax. She's on SmackDown on Fridays. That's The Rock's cousin. So it's like the nepotism in wrestling is also fascinating because we talk about nepotism in Hollywood. There is big nepotism in the
Well, I mean, it's
WWE.
entertainment. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just another form of entertainment. I just think it's so interesting though. And then like you also are you an anime girl?
I am. I've like kind of fallen off. I used to have a podcast a few years ago, but then one of our co-hosts, she passed from
Oh no.
cancer, and so we just could never get back that old thing after she passed. But yeah, I still love anime. I've been to Anime New York, the anime convention in New York before. There was an anime convention in Baltimore, then they moved it to DC, but I refuse to go to DC, so I don't go to that anymore. I have personal beef with the District of Columbia. No disrespect to anybody down there. So Me and DC, Spirit don't tech to DC, so I don't go. But yeah, I love an anime convention. Have I been keeping up with anime a lot now? Not really, even though the newest one I am watching is Solo Leveling, which the girls love. But yeah, I again, I'm multifaceted. I got a lot of interests, got a lot of things going on.
No, I think listen. I think it's important. Like, everybody be talking about touch grass, but I think people really forget how important it is to like have a life, have some
Yeah,
friends, have some interests. Turn off your computer and your phone. Go do something, please. It's healthy. It's
yeah,
like
and
we need it. So,
also,
and I'm saying that
mhm,
because like one of the questions that I want to ask you, like we talked about social media, we talked about the people, coming into certain things on via TikTok and Instagram and all of this stuff. The topic of spiritual psychosis has been rearing its
yeah,
head, right? Um, I've had a couple of run-ins with people where I'm just like, oh God, like this. I'm praying for you over there though,
hmm
because like don't come over here with that. You're scaring me. Like I'm scared. Like you're scaring the hoes. It's me. I'm the
hmm
hoes. I'm frightened. Um, like that's I when people say when people say start talking about spiritual psychosis, like what are some of the things that come to mind for you, like whether like any experiences that you've had with people, like whether they've been clients or just like people you've crossed paths
um,
with, or like not to tell people's business, of course,
no,
within
I think
reason.
like if I'm gonna make a generalization, the biggest one that I would make is that regardless of what the person practices, they start to sound like the Book of Revelations. It's very doom and gloom. It's very much the world is ending. It's very much that they have been talking to whoever. Sometimes it's God. Sometimes it's like it's some kind of supreme being that they have made contact with them. And it's not to say like, have I had dreams and the Orisha come to me in dreams? Yes. However, comma, even before I could divine, I would ask somebody that could divine, like my godmother, hey, I think this is so and so in my dream. Can you just, I just want to confirm that this is so and so. I don't ever assume. And that's something that people like to do is like, oh, I think Oshun is coming to me. I'm also like, what do you want me to do with that? I can't mark your head. I don't, what you want me to do with that? Um, Go to the river and pray to her. Babe, I don't know what you want me to do with that. But you have to remember that they're trickster spirits and they can come to you disguised as someone else, right? But a lot of times it's like it's really like they just across the board, they just start to sound like the Book of Revelations. A lot of wars coming, and again, it's not that. I mean, look outside, yeah, obvious, but it's like no big nuclear catastrophic. We're all gonna die. We need to be in bunkers. These people are against us. A lot. That's like the biggest thing I've seen is just like, and then sometimes saying that it's like self-initiated or they got married to like a deity. It's always like I'm initiated to them, or now me and so I'm married to them. Hmm.
Yes, I definitely have heard that, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
that's oh okay, that's interesting.
hmm,
I, I don't know what we're supposed to do with this information. Sometimes, and I think that's the other part too. It just feels like sometimes I interpret it as like too much information not
hmm,
fully being processed. Like there's like all kinds of stuff coming. It's like you talked to the leprechauns and then you spoke to Chango and then an angel came and then you're like, okay, this what is going on? Like what is
yeah, because
happening
like you're
here?
talking to the Loa, you're talking to the Orisha, you're talking to Palo spirits. First of all, why are they all talking to you? You? Why are they? Why are they all talking to you? That would be my question. If that was, why are you all talking to me? Please. There's so many other people you could. Me? Absolutely not. Why are you talking to 5011 spirits from 5011 practices?
Just saying. You know, so when we're talking about, discernment and these online spaces and these different practices, what is one thing that you could recommend? Like what is something that you think could, that people could do to like work on their discernment?
Um, So when I do shadow readings, a lot of what comes up is people don't trust their discernment because they feel like at one time they listened to it and something didn't work out the way, I don't know, they felt it was going to work out. And I said, okay, well, was that actually your discernment, or did you gaslight yourself because you wanted to do something? Because there's a difference, right? You could be like, oh, let's just use dating. That I like that guy. I think he has like good vibes. No, you intuitively like he doesn't. You just like you want to have a key with him. Baby, you just got to admit that. And like when it doesn't work out, then that's not your intuition's fault because your intuition never told you to do that. You just wanted to do the thing. You got to start there. In practicing discernment, I always say you have to listen to it when it tells you to do something uncomfortable. Your intuition is never going to put you in danger. It is never going to make you do something that's harmful. Will it make you do something uncomfortable? Yes. As in an uncomfortable conversation? Yes. As in maybe you don't talk to this person anymore, because I've gotten that. I even told my friend yesterday, they were like, I be wanting to reach out to so and so, but every time I do, spirit be like, leave that person alone. And I'd be like, but leave that person alone. That's the type of stuff, right? Or you want to go out, but intuitively you're like, I should probably stay in the house. But you want to go, like, you want to be outside with the ratchet. I mean, and if you go out and God forbid, like, something, and not even anything, it doesn't have to be anything catastrophic. It could just be a major inconvenience, okay? Like catching a flat tire. Maybe you should stay in the house because you wouldn't have driven over that nail. That's not catastrophic. That is a major inconvenience, right? So I'm not
Right.
talking about you going out, and somebody like shooting up the club. No. But there's just like avoidable situations, and you don't have to know what is going to transpire if you don't listen. And I think as humans, and I'm guilty of this, instant gratification, and we want to know, right? Like, I did some readings over the weekend at an event, and a lot of people were like, is it going to get better? Like, I just need to know, is it going to get better? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know when, and they're not going to tell you when because it's none of your business. I mean, I hate that for myself. They tell me that all the time too. Like, I mean, it's going to be fine. You just have to wait. And it's like, girl, I've been waiting. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Exactly.
Gosh,
Like, okay, I'm not trying to get
I'm
fresh
trying
with
to
y'all. I'm
shoot
just
you. Just all right.
okay. No, 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 it's fine. It's fine.
We want the answers to everything, and we don't need the answers to everything. And just because someone postures themselves as an expert does not mean that they are an expert. Especially, and this is, it's going to sound away, but I really don't care just because, like, I'm sick of seeing this shit, especially young people. Like, I'm talking about younger millennials and Gen Z people who posture themselves as spiritual leaders. Because who's your elder? What elders do you have? Do you know what I mean? Like, who's teaching you these things? At least if you go on my website, there is a link in my bio to my godmother's like website. I freely will give her information out. I've referred clients. There's clients that I've gotten. I'd be like, yeah, this is above me. I'm gonna send this up. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot, and this is just not. I'm not being a hater. I think it's weird. Like, you're 25, and I'm not saying you're not wise, and I'm not saying you're not gifted, but are you in the position to kind of be giving guidance to like tens of thousands of people? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I agree. No, I agree. I feel like I do think it's a bit weird for someone to be so young, and this is not to shame anybody for being
No.
young. It's not about that, but it's just like there's just like a certain level of wisdom that you get with age, and I like my elders a little old.
And
Like
also just like age, and also like, and there's some people who are young, as in maybe 30s and 40s, who grew up in the religion. That's
yeah,
different. That's
that's
not what I'm
different.
talking about.
That we're not
I'm
talking
not
about that.
talking, yeah, I'm talking about you started practicing when you were 21, you got initiated at 23, now you're teaching Orisha classes. You just got here.
Like some of these
No.
lessons, like no, like this, like you said earlier, the Orisha played a long game, and there has been some situations in the past couple of years where I would literally be like, Eshu, did you know that this was gonna happen? Like
Yep.
you knew this was gonna happen, and you sat here this whole time, and you watched all of this go down. Cause you like mess, I like mess too. Don't worry, we. I love mess too, but damn. And then it makes you realize, like, oh, there's certain things that it was not the time. You need the time to pass. Like, you need
Yes.
that passage of time to fully, even if you get it on the mat, even if you get it in the reading, even if you get it in the misa, even if you hear it in the drumming, some stuff don't connect because the time hasn't passed
Hasn't
yet.
Pat? Yeah.
Like stuff hasn't. You need time. Like we're human. Like they could tell you all of the answers to the test right now, and that still would not make life any less important. You still need to live life. You still need to experience some things.
And some people just have pure, and again, no shade. I'm just saying from like my observations, it's like, okay, you can have a lot of academic knowledge, you can have a lot of book knowledge, but then I'd be like, girl, you even taking care of your shrines? Like, you even really like sitting down and talking to your shrines like that? You need an abori, like you need a rogation. Like, what are we? You busy out here trying again. You got tens of thousands of people. That's a lot of energy, regardless if it's over the internet or not. That's still a lot of energy. People are requiring a lot of you, and you're not tending to like your own personal spiritual obligations, right? So that's like one of the things that I've always found a little strange. And again, there are people younger than me that I follow that I think are doing great work, and they have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. I'm not referring to those people, but I'm just, as a scroller and a watcher, I'm like, huh, okay. I mean, y'all like it, I love it. But I mean, I will say this. It is frustrating sometimes as a practitioner because I'm like, but I'm out here actually trying to help y'all. I'm giving you tools to help yourself. You don't actually want the tools. You just want to hear. You want the yabba, 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 yabba. And you want to repost the quotes, right? You want to post the memes. You don't actually want to get in the field and do the work. And that's why I'd be like, y'all really not about this life. Again, that's okay. I just want you to be honest with yourself. You want the books, but you don't want to do the work to take care of yourself. I told a client the other day, I was like, I did a New Year's reading for someone, and it was like, oh, you're going to be working with your ancestors a little more. They interpreted it one way, and I was like, or maybe you just like do more work with them. Like, you lit a candle, you gave them some food, like, I don't know, you wrote a petition, something. I don't know how you got that from this. Oh, yeah, do some work. This is work. It's spiritual work. It's still like, yeah, you gotta do the mundane things, but like there's still stuff that you gotta do on your part. There's a lot of times where I gotta be like, damn, I gotta go out of my house. I gotta go get gin. I gotta go down to the ocean. The ocean is not close to me. That's like a 45-minute drive. Sometimes 50. The river is not close to me. I gotta go to the river sometime. Like, I'm lugging gallons by myself of ocean and river water to and fro. It's work.
It's
But
work.
y'all, it's work. And sometimes I think people forget that it's work. And again, it's okay if you just want to. I love a meme. I love a meme. But also, get in the fields.
All right. I think that I feel like the next question I was going to ask is like what advice would you share with someone who's just starting their journey? I feel like that is a very good segue because get in the field,
Um, don't overlook your ancestors. I think a lot of people again want to skip ancestors, go to Loa, go to Orisha or whatever. Do not discount the power of your ancestors because the central component of all of these ATRs is ancestral veneration. At the bare minimum, there is your ancestors are always involved. Um, so I think it's, and also like work your ancestors. These people are dead. What else do they got going on? Put no disrespect. I say that all the time. I'm like, they're dead. I don't. you know, many times I've done readings and I'm like, people's ancestors will be like, they didn't even come to me with this. I don't even know why they're talking to you. They should have just come talk to us. The people be ready to do some work. Y'all just be go sit down with your ancestors, and it doesn't have to be super elaborate. My first ancestor altar was literally in my first apartment. I had a fireplace in my room. It was like a non-working fireplace. It was like the mantle in my bedroom, and then I transitioned it into like this little kind of, I don't know, cabinet thing. Like it was very, very small, very crowded. And then I got a bigger cabinet that I found on like someone who sells like not vintage, maybe like vintage furniture, but like one of those thrift people, like a thrifter. So now they have like a lot more space, but that is because like my ancestral practice has grown. More people have shown up because before the amount of ancestors I have now was not on my original, right? And sometimes
Right.
it's like, well, I don't know, and I'm like, literally, pictures have just shown up. I don't ask for pictures. I will just like be at my grandmother's house. I'm like, who is that? And she's like, that's my dad. I'm like, cool. Can I have that? And I'll just take it. Because I assume if I'm seeing your picture, you're revealing yourself to me. You want to be on the altar, right? It's stuff like that where it's just like, don't discount your ancestral practice. And it's always like part of spiritual work and like working magic and mojo. It's like a scientific experiment. So not everything is going to hit every single time. Sometimes, even in like divination, it's not 100%. It's not. And sometimes you got to wait. It's like, yeah, they said this was going to happen. They didn't say it was going to happen in 6 months. Sometimes you just got to wait. And again, these spirits sometimes, depending, it's a long game. It's a long game, and sometimes if you're asking for something real big, it's not coming like a Powerball. Like I think that you have to take out the instant gratification. Sometimes initially when you start, yeah, you're gonna hit. It's gonna hit. It's gonna be firing blade. Oh shit. Okay, cool. Then you really get deep into it, and you start asking. Not that you shouldn't, but you start asking for bigger things. Nah, it don't. It's not gonna give 30-day turnover. It's not. Sometimes the return on investment is not for a couple of years. And that's a test of faith because they like to do that. They be like, no, are you really down or are you really here just because we give you stuff? Don't neglect your ancestors. Also, you know me, spiritual hygiene, wash your ass and stop being funky. Half the time it's just like you need a cleansing bath because you're out here being frowsy. That's it. Like if it's two things, don't neglect your ancestors because the girls love smoking out their houses with the sage, palo, whatever they be using these days, and it's just like, okay, but you're not taking a spiritual bath. That's crazy to me. Sorry, that's just a little cuckoo bananas to me.
Yeah, you have to. There's a whole process of spiritually cleansing. Um, and sometimes you need to take the bath. You need to change your behavior. You need to smoke out the house. Like it's like you said. It's like a
It's a whole
system.
thing. It's a
A
whole thing.
whole science experiment. You know,
You gotta
and
figure
it's
out what
not
works for you.
one. And you might need to change up the frequency of your spiritual baths. Like, what do you recommend, like frequency wise, for people?
I think if you are just getting, I would love to say once a week because I'm a once a week girl. But also, I've been taking baths once a week for like 6, 7 years, right? Consistently. Um, Now, I'm realistic. Do I take spiritual baths with me when I'm on vacation? No, that's crazy. I'm on vacation. You know what I mean? But also, I've been doing it for a while that like that's okay for me to do. Um, I think at least once a month. At least once a month. Like if anything, at the beginning or the end of a month. Probably the beginning. You want to leave the energy of the previous month behind, kind of be fresh for the new month. So maybe like I love a Sunday. I think Sunday's a great day to do a spiritual bath because I mean, unless you're outside like that, the hell you doing on a Sunday? What are you doing? You should be in your. I mean, the girls be outside, but you know what I mean. Like, what do you for
Yeah,
real?
like
Most of the time,
what are you doing? It's
what
Sunday.
are
You're
you
supposed to get ready
doing?
for your week.
Yeah.
You will be cooking a little meal. Just stay home.
Yeah, meal prepping and cleaning and
Yeah.
stuff. Take your spiritual bath on a Sunday. That way you don't forget, and then you are refreshed for the work week. So I would say once a month, if you can manage twice a month. Ideally, a weekly bath is keep it cute. Do a week. Do it a week. Every week.
Okay. And let's do a little lightning round, right? So,
Okay.
um, we just said, all right, once a week, ideal. Once a
Mm-hmm.
month, at the very bare minimum.
Right.
What is okay? Now, if somebody don't have a whole lot of money, what would
Okay.
you say is like a good go-to spiritual bath for beginners?
Oh, white flowers. Parsley is good. Mint is good. I like to work in odd numbers. So if you're gonna do something in odd numbers. Personally. So carnations are good because they're always like $5 at the supermarket or like a Trader Joe's. Um, Mint is always, for the most part, readily available. You don't need a lot of it. Um, Parsley, they always got parsley. Rosemary is also really good, and you can use sage to herb in your bath. So I think do what feels good for your spirit, like out of that list, and if you have some Florida water, you can add it to that too. You want to add a little Florida water and just, work your herbs, say your prayers, and do your thing. And it's good to make a batch of it so you could just freeze it. And then when you need it, you can take it out the freezer and take your bath.
Okay, I like that. Um, what would you say is one of the most overrated spiritual trends right now?
Oh, do you know what's so funny? I don't even know what spiritual trends. What
Me
what is
neither,
actually? I
honestly.
was gonna say I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I remember. I don't know. I feel like they change. They change, right? I feel like sometimes is like I remember like years ago it used to be like, oh, let's sage, and I'm just like, sage. What are we doing with sage? Like, why is everybody
Oh,
saging all the time? And then now I feel like it's kind of like, oh gosh, I can't even tell you what it is now. Because I'm so like not.
I'm like
Oh,
I am not
all
tapped
right, good.
in.
All right, so we're fine. We're
Like,
fine.
I
I'm
don't.
just like,
I'm like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
well, what are you reading right now? I know you have books that you haven't read, but like, what's on your reading list
Um,
right now?
right now, so I am what is called, I'm on some authors book teams, so I get advanced reader copies of some books. So right now I'm working, I just need to sit down and give it an hour. This is a third in a series called The Omega Trials by Summer O'Toole. Also, oh my gosh, she's one of my favorite authors too. I love Summer O'Toole. It's Omegaverse, which just go look that up. I don't really want to get into the specifics of Omegaverse because it gets weird. It
Okay.
gets real. It's a weird thing. It's not my thing, but I love Summer, so I was like, okay, girl, I'm reading it for you. It is very good. Just Omegaverse is just weird. So that's what I'm reading. And also, I just downloaded a whole bunch of books today. I posted on Blue Sky that there was like some freebies, so I just downloaded a bunch of books. But that's what I'm reading, and I think after that, I'm going to read a book by maybe Shanora Williams.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, if you could live in any anime world,
Oh,
which one would it be?
definitely not Attack on Titan. Not
Oh no,
giving
hell no.
that. It's never giving what they got
No,
going on
no,
over
no, no, don't need that.
there.
Too stressful.
Um, I don't know. I'm a Demon Slayer girl, but also, do I want to live in the Demon Slayer universe? No. So maybe Jujutsu Kaisen, perhaps,
Okay.
maybe, or Bleach, because Bleach was my gateway anime. So I always have like a very soft spot for Bleach, and I heard that the reboot that they did was very good. So maybe that.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, and then lastly, if you were a wrestler, what would your entrance theme be?
Oh my god! Wow, I would. So I've always said my this is very Jamaican of me. I've always said my entrance music, like ideally when I walk into a room, I want to hear, and also gonna age me, Traffic Blocking by Janelle
Hey.
Monáe.
Bam, 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 bam.
That's big Jamaican flag in the background, pyrotechnics, and then me just bubbling up to the ring. Yeah, giving it to them.
That's perfect. Girl, I'm dying right now. Oh my God. Oh God, that sweet me so much. Oh God, I love that. I love that. Okay. And on that note, are there any upcoming projects or anything that you have coming up, any events you have coming up? I know you just did one over the weekend, but spring, summer, do you have anything coming that you want people to support?
No, actually, no. I mean, you can always buy the baths. We got plenty of baths. Always buy a bath. My books are open. I think because I'm really bad at advertising and marketing myself. I think people do forget, like, I do spiritual work. So, like, I do spiritual work consultations. I do house blessings. I've been to Brooklyn a couple times to do some house blessing out there. So, like, I do work, y'all. So holla at your girl if you want a little ting. We can work some things out. But yeah, other like special projects, naturally I don't. No.
Okay. So, but where can people find you online? What are your what socials are you active on?
So Twitter and Blue Sky is Bruja Bantan. Instagram is _@Bruja Bantan. The website www.iyalodescorner.com. If you're interested in books, if you want to know about some smut books, I'm at Deviant Kitty Reads on Instagram. If you want some romance recommendations, you can find me there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been quite lovely. I hope you
Yes, it's great.
I'm really looking forward to this episode airing, and thank you so much again, everyone listening. This has been a conversation with Iya Osundara of Baltimore, of Rockland
Baltimore, New York,
County, New
Jamaica.
York, Jamaica. We had a time talking about romance, wrestling, and all types of spiritual witchy things. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in this week. As always, you can find me at soulthingsbotanica.com. You can find me on Blue Sky on Twitter at soulthingsbk. We're also on Substack, soulthings.substack.com. Have you been on Substack?
I'm actually subscribed to a couple Substacks. I
Okay.
think it's cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like Substack. It's like a nice little community over there. So we have a Substack called The Boneyard, and I post our articles and things like that, as well as the podcast. So advanced listeners will be listening to this Thursday, but everybody else is going to get it next week on the 10th, I believe, is going to be the air date for this episode.
Cool.
So thank you so much, Iya, for coming through. I hope that you had a time. I definitely had a time.
Listen. I love geeking with you.
It was a time. A time was had, and I thank you very much for coming on. And as always, everybody, keep it black, keep it beautiful, and stay blessed out there. Peace.
Peace.